up, guys? Chris Fluck here. Chris Fluck Podcast, episode 35. I am down in Hellertown, my hometown, with Justin Kline here at House and Land Real Estate. Justin, thanks, man.
Absolutely.
Thanks for bringing me down.
It's a pleasure being here.
I was coming through Bethlehem today, and I like seeing the House and Land Real Estate signs out there on 412. So how'd you end up down here in Hellertown?
How'd we end up here?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
this spot
in particular. Yeah. Well, I was already working in Hellertown at Coldwell Banker.
Yeah.
I was there for about 5 years. And I lived in Hellertown for the last 10 years. I'm really bad with timing.
Nobody's going to fact
But it's been for a while.
Yeah.
And I've always just loved Hellertown. I really fell in love with the community, the people in it, and a lot of the business owners around here. And I really actually got to know the community a lot when I was bartending at Braveheart.
Yeah.
So,
How long were you there?
From the very beginning.
Nice.
So when it first opened, day one, I was there. Sorry, Andy, but I lied on my resume. I said I had plenty of restaurant experience. I had none, but I winged it and picked it up pretty quickly. So that I knew, just getting to know the community, I would have never wanted to open a brokerage anywhere besides Hellertown. It wasn't even an option.
And it seems, speaking of Braveheart, they're kind of almost like a staple in Hellertown on the main strip.
Yep.
There's a few other businesses coming by. We got Saucon Valley Bikes, the brewery.
Yep.
It appears that maybe the turnover is not going to be as like it once was, and some places are starting to get a little bit more established down here, which is nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't see any of these places. Literally, as you go, you start at Lost Tavern, then you have us. You have Gary's Barbershop. That's not going anywhere. Saucon Valley Bikes, Main Street Gym. Yeah. And you and I both know the owners of every one of them.
Yeah.
And nobody's going anywhere. Everyone's here to stay. And everybody really takes care of their buildings. Yeah. So, it's beautifying the whole area, and it's helping everybody by these businesses staying in business and keeping, having pride of ownership in the buildings and keeping the places looking nice.
Well, with the pride and ownership part of it, we don't have to go into specifics.
Sure.
But in terms of like owning some of the buildings too, and I feel like some of the small businesses kind of get, I don't want to say strong-armed by a landlord, but it's hard to pay rent. It's not a cheap area, so it's,
sure.
If you got that as an expense and all that stuff, I'm sure those are factors into whether or not you survive, is keeping your expenses.
Absolutely. And that is one of the main reasons why we did this, is because I wanted to own the building.
Yeah.
So that's the only way it would have ever worked. I didn't want to be stuck paying a lease, however things worked out. And just when I came across this building when it was for sale, it was something that luckily I was able to purchase.
Yeah.
So then we fixed it up and brought what we have here now. And it was something that we knew we could offset some costs if you own the building and have another, we can rent the upstairs out and rent out stuff in the back, and that way you're not worried about that monthly payment all the time.
When you, let's just say day one as a real estate agent here, was this kind of always the plan to do your own thing?
No, like day one as a real estate agent, in general, when I first got my license.
Boom, license.
When I first got my license, I was a very different person. I got my license because it was really easy, and at that time of my life, all I wanted was something that was easy.
Yeah.
I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I actually signed up to be a car dealer at Sands, and not enough people signed up, and I don't know what the hell I was thinking, because I'm terrible at math and I'm terrible at quick math, so it would have made no sense. No. I would have failed out of that immediately.
People thought that was a straight job.
I know. Well, that's what I thought too.
I
was like, I can make money. I'm used to working late nights. I can do that. I can schmooze with people, but oh my gosh, I'm so thankful that didn't work out, because that would have never lasted. And I thought, I didn't even look into it. Kind of like this, but we can get to that later. I didn't even look into it. I just kind of went with the motions. I was just literally looking out the window one day thinking, what, when I'm at Braveheart, I can always get people to order the specials, and I can always get people to get dessert even though they don't want to, and things like that. So why don't I try to sell something a little more expensive? Yeah. And I was looking out the window, looking at houses, and I'm like, maybe I'll look into that. And I looked it up. And I was like, oh my gosh, you only have to go to school for 60 hours to get a real estate license?
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane, which is funny now, because that's what I hate most about the industry.
So it's still the same.
It actually went up to 75 hours, which is still absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I think,
study her life.
And don't quote me on this, but it's somewhere around 1,000 hours to be able to cut hair. And that's to cut someone's hair.
You need 200 hours to be a yoga instructor.
Yeah, you only need 75 hours to get a real estate license. It's insane. It's not right. But that's why I got my license.
Yeah.
Because it was so easy.
Yeah.
And I was, at that time in my life, I was looking for, ease. So I got my license, and I was never thinking of owning my own place. I was just trying to figure out how to do anything, because and when you get your license, they don't go over contracts, which is insane too. Like, that's what you need to know.
At that time, did you even own a house or anything?
My wife did, and I was living with her, but I didn't.
But it wasn't like you ever had like a negotiation,
no,
contract, and
no. I had no idea what I was doing.
Interesting. So you just kind of, your first sale was like,
yes,
let's see what the heck happens.
Yeah. I mean, I was at a company, and they kind of help you, but not really. It just depends. I mean, some are better than others, obviously.
Yeah.
If I could do it all over again, I would have joined like a huge team, but that's different now. But yeah, I didn't know what I was doing at first. I kind of was figuring it out, and I had some early success just because I would really account it to just being a nice person. Like, I just liked people. I've always been nice to people and had good relationships with people. So I had a couple quick sales, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was something that was easy, and that kind of wound up being a really terrible thing for me, which wound up later being a good thing, because I really struggled in my second year.
You were working for the same...
I was still at the same company. Yep. And I just struggled because it came easy at first. So I thought, heck, I can sit back, relax, and leads are just going to come my way, because that's what happened for like my first 4 or 5 deals.
Yeah.
And then I fell flat on my face. In my second year, I only sold 1 house. And I was so ashamed. Like, I didn't put...
What's the average?
The average person sells, I believe it's 7. So even to do, 1 was like... It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I almost felt like I had to have, like... I didn't ever do the fake it till you make it thing. I never believed in that. So I just did a lot of soul searching that second year. And that's when we talked about this before. That's when I really dove in deep to podcasts, YouTube, a lot of... self-help stuff, and I almost don't even like the word self-help, because it has a negative connotation. I don't think it should. It's really about just being mentally aware of what you're doing to yourself, is something that I feel is important, and because people do kind of like knock other people for wanting to better themselves.
Yeah, it's weird.
You know what I mean? Like, you read a self-help book and people are like, he's got problems. And it's like, well, if we're all honest with ourselves, we all have problems, right? But I'm just trying to make myself better.
Yeah.
And people look down on that.
Is there like 1 or 2 things that you're like, man, would you recommend to others? Say,
like, absolutely. I mean, the really early adopters for me was Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, Grant Cardone, on a level of like backing him back, like he's like really intense, and I like some of the stuff he says. I just never would be that intense of a salesperson. I mean, there's countless people, but those are probably ones that stick out off the top of my head. Yeah. And like, and Tom Ferry's one, like real estate specific. He's got a lot of great stuff out there, and the list goes on and on. But that was some of the stuff that really got me thinking about, like, all right, let's treat this like a business, not just something that I sit back and get leads on. So I'm not. I think that's where we were at in the conversation, right? I was kind of moving along there.
You were talking about year 2.
Yes.
Starting soul searching.
Yes. Yeah. So that's that. Yeah, and that's actually when I adopted. After listening to some great people, I started reading a ton, which was interesting for me because I never read my whole life.
Yeah, so let's hear it, man. I'm a big reader. What do you got? What are some of those big ones that you read?
So the guys I mentioned, I've read every one of all their books.
What about Money Master the Game? Did you read that one from Robbins? Years ago?
Oh, yeah. That's a great one. My financial advisor friends don't like that I read it.
I don't use them, so I don't have anybody to complain. That book literally was. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try this out. We'll see what happens. But that was a great book.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're self-employed. Like a lot of people that do what I do, like they don't have any retirement.
No,
like, they don't even know what they're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like they're 25, then the next thing you know they're 30, 35, and they're like, I didn't even start saving yet.
Yeah.
Scary.
It is.
So, anyways.
Yeah. Seth Godin was another big one. I read of all his stuff.
Yeah.
And one thing, one book that one of my really good friends, Steve Berner, mentioned to me that was a big game changer for me. It was the smallest book I ever read, but it had the biggest message, and it was called Steal Like an Artist. And that was big for me because I've always wanted to feel special and feel unique. And ever since I ever started, I always wanted to be different. And it was almost a hindrance at times because I didn't want to copy other people. I wanted to do it my own way. But in this book, Steal Like an Artist, they kind of mention the best reference that I can think of is Kobe Bryant. So he would adopt the way that Michael Jordan would fade away, but then he'd adopt the way that Dominique Wilkins would take his, like, the way through the lane, and then he would do a hook shot like Abdul-Jabbar. And when you take 1,000 things from other people and then make them yours, it actually is unique.
Yeah.
And that was big for me because I realized, you know what, I should be copying the best of the best. And you're not copying them, you're just taking a little bit from each person. And that's what I started to do when I started reading these books was, let's focus on getting one actionable item out of something I read or listen to, and then take action on it instead of just trying to devour book after book after book after book. Because sometimes it almost looks like when you do get in that mental state of like loving to read and learn things, like a trophy case of all the books you've read, but how much action you're actually taking out of those books.
Yeah.
Like in reality, it's probably better to have way less books on the shelf, but you're actually taking an actionable item out of each book.
Yeah.
And that's what that book taught me, and that was a big one for me.
Well, I don't remember who it was, but it was basically like, I got in this habit a few years ago where I was like, trying to hammer through all these books that I had that, you just get a collection that you don't end up reading.
Yep.
But then, I heard a guy just say like, it's probably better to read the important ones 2 or 3 times.
Absolutely.
Than trying to, read 20 books. Read the same ones that are important and have like the best lessons in there for you. So, I could agree with that. And also too, stealing a little bit from everybody is kind of like you could learn through their successes and failures.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think you're making a huge mistake if you don't
no doubt.
read and see what everybody else did, because then you don't have to do it yourself. It'll save you, however, just save you time. With the salesman part of things, what about like growing up? Like you said, you were always able at Braveheart to like get people to buy the specials and kind of just talk to people and get to know them, build relationships. Like was that kind of who you were always?
I think so. I mean, I never even like think of myself as a salesperson.
Yeah.
I just think of myself as, someone that likes to genuinely get to know somebody else, and then at the end of it, if there's something that I can offer you that you want, then I'm going to present it to you, and then you make your own choice. I've never adopted to the whole like trying to actually sell people on anything. Everybody wants something, and if you have what they want, then you just present it to them. Is kind of the situation.
Cool.
Yeah. And maybe when I was younger, I do try to think about that a lot sometimes. Is just when you have those inner conversations with yourself, is trying to figure yourself out now as an adult and think back when you were younger. I just think the friendships that I had and how close my family was, like my mom and grandparents were always there for us. I think that had a lot to do with who I am now, like anybody.
You have siblings?
I do. Yep. I have 2 brothers and a sister, and they were all a lot older.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to think that probably had a lot to do with it
were
too.
You by yourself a lot? And you were like.
I was. Yeah. I was by myself all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were like creating creative things to do, I guess. And
yeah, maybe.
That might have helped mold you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it did. Yeah, because I was my 2 brothers. One's 10 years older than me. The other one's 8 years older than me. So we weren't close when I was growing up. Yeah. We're very close now, and like as I got older, we got a lot closer.
Yeah.
But I don't blame them at all. What kind of 16-year-old wants to play with a 6-year-old?
Nope, nobody. But then the other thing I wanted to ask too, like in addition, like the sales side of things is, when you first get started, is it hard to kind of get in if you don't have like the big name? What would I call it? A firm or a company?
Oh, like the big brokerage name?
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say that's why it's hard. I would say it's absolutely very hard to start.
You don't have enough training probably if it's only 75 hours.
Yeah,
too,
what you learn in that 75 hours is how not to go to jail and nothing else.
Yeah.
You don't even know 1% of how to run a real estate business or how to be a successful real estate agent. All of the training and everything else starts after you get your license, in my opinion. They teach you some terms and things like that you never even use in real estate anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm trying to think back to then. Yeah, it was. I didn't want to fail, So like that's why I just started learning everything on my own, and that was looking back was a huge mistake. I've only recently gotten over this issue because of trying to figure it out. Is I've always, for some stupid reason, found such pride in doing things on my own. Maybe it goes back to, like you said, because I was always alone when I was younger, and I wanted to figure it out myself and wanted to prove to everybody I knew how to do something by myself. But I've recently really found out the past 3 or 4 years, it's so much easier if you just ask for help. It's just some people, like myself, I find it very hard to ask people for help. And if I would have just asked someone for help or found a good mentor, I probably would have grown at a rapid pace, which is probably why I'm finding some more success now. Is I do ask people for help now, and I do look for mentors, and I do try to not do everything on my own. I'm finally leveraging out work. I have an assistant and administrator who's awesome. I have John, who's been helping me with the media aspect of my business now he's been helping me for 3 years, but he can tell you even only recently have I let go a lot of stuff, because after he was done filming, all right, I want to edit it, I want to add the music, I want to put everything in, I want to do everything, and it hindered me so much.
Yeah.
And now that I finally released that, not only is he way better at it than I am, but now I have time to do the stuff I'm actually good at, and helps me grow and helps everybody around me grow.
Yeah.
But it took me a ton of failure to figure out that was not the right thing to do.
So, with the mentor side of things, actual people, or are you talking even like just the people that you read and watch and all that stuff? I mean, it's probably, I don't think I probably am of that mindset that you had before you made this change, where I just don't really go out and seek out.
And that's something I'm really working on. I'm still not great at it.
So there's people in real estate, or people in business, or
so
people in both.
A lot of it was still people that I haven't met in person.
Yeah.
It's like we said, YouTube, podcasts, and stuff. But when I was going to get my broker's license, I met Stephen Weinstein and Justino Arroyo. They're two guys that really stick out to me. They're both real estate agents in this area.
Yeah.
And they've both become really good friends. And I talked to them, and Stephen more recently, where when we do talk on the phone, it ends up being almost a half hour every time, because we just feed off each other. So I have more recently found some people locally, but I'd love to find more, and I know it's on me to just go ask somebody, because that's one thing that I've noticed. People that are very successful are more than happy to talk to you, and if you have questions. I think it's important for us that anyone seeking a mentor, though, goes to them with something to be helpful, and not just take.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons I do what I do with the videos. Like, I want to go around the community and put a spotlight on them, because I know that I can do something that is valuable to them. I hope they find it as valuable as I do. Bringing an audience to what they have to do.
Well, going with that then. So I mean, I think that's like the super. I guess, like, seeking help and other people having your back in the same field is important, but yet there seems to be, like, because of people only have 75 hours to become a real estate agent, you might see a real estate agent, trash talking somebody else and stuff like that. I mean, I feel like I see that stuff, and I'm just like, I feel like everybody should be out there kind of in it and support.
Yeah.
Like, being like, super proud of the community that you serve.
Absolutely.
And it's like,
I think you see that in every industry.
True.
But you certainly see it a lot in this industry. And
I guess it does make sense, and just based off of, you weren't even really prepared, you said, when you started. So
oh yeah, exactly.
Somebody that's been in the game for 10 years and is like,
I think it goes back to, it's the age-old saying, like, when somebody says something about you, it's not about it's about that person that's saying it.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yep.
Every time.
Yeah.
So if somebody badmouths me, and I know it happens because people tell me all the time, and if you're going to put yourself out there, you got to get ready for negative comments.
True.
And you just, I constantly tell myself it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with the person that's saying it, and I can pretty quickly get over it at that point.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, you say, but it's like any other affirmation. If you say it over and over and over and over again, eventually you're going to believe it.
Yeah.
So whether it's positive things you're telling yourself or negative things you're telling yourself, then, that's kind of the person you're going to become.
Yeah.
So
you don't even entertain it, not letting it in.
Oh no, it used to bother me early on, but it doesn't. I will not allow it to take any of my mind space, or else I wouldn't be able to accomplish the other stuff I want to do.
Yeah. So on that, like delegating a lot of stuff, when we talked about getting some help with video and all that other stuff, that was huge. Frees up time to do other stuff in your business, and you get some time to hit home and kind of relax a little.
Yep. No, not right now, but no. I mean, it did leading up to opening the new brokerage. But like anything else, the very beginning stages of opening this, it's like a jet. A jet uses, again, don't quote me on the percentage, but I think it's like 80% of its fuel getting off the ground and in the air, and then once that business, the jet is in the air, you coast. Yeah. So I need to put in as many hours as I possibly can, and the time up front until we can get to that coasting point. So it's going to get there eventually, but I think it's going to always, as you grow and your goals get bigger, you're going to want to, you gotta, everything's got to grow with you. So I'm sure that eventually I'll have some more time for that. And don't get me wrong, I still go home and I still spend time with my family, but it's never as much as I want to. But it will be more so once this is coasting.
And you have 2 children?
So I do. Yeah.
How old are they?
My son Lincoln is 6, and my daughter Fiona is 4.
What are they getting into at that age?
They were both in soccer, and then since soccer ended, Lincoln now plays basketball. So we love that. Games? He's doing practice right now, but I love basketball, so I love going to that. So again, like I don't miss. I think I maybe missed one soccer game. Or I don't even know if I missed one. Yeah. And I'm going to miss one basketball because of a Christmas party that I'm having with friends, family, and past clients. So cool. But yeah, I'm there. A lot of people. There was a decision made, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with people that do share their kids online, but that's just a decision that my wife and I decided that, you know what, we think it should be their decision, and they're not at an age right now that they could make the right decision. So, I mean, I could easily include my kids and stuff and get a lot of extra likes. Yeah. But I'm not about that. I want their life to be private and their decision if they want to do that or not.
You don't want to throw the kids into videos and.
Well, no, that's because they don't. I mean, you know why? And something that really stuck out to me that made me feel like I made the right decision there was. We were at a family friend house, and the daughter was, I'm not gonna use any names obviously, but like the daughter was like, how many likes did that picture get of us that we put up? And the mom answered, she's like, really, that's it? And she got so upset, and I'm like, oh my god, like that is so bad. Like I think she's 4 or 5 years old. Yeah. And she was already at 5 years old worried about how many likes her picture got on Instagram.
What did they make that change with that? Weren't they changing that?
It's supposed to happen anytime, but it's not. I haven't seen it happen. So
that's a weird thing too, though. It's like I don't even know if that's gonna solve any kind of.
I think that it's.
You're gonna see views, right?
I think it's a positive step that Instagram's at least taking, because they're understanding that it is creating problems for people.
Hopefully, it's not too late. There's like at least a 10-year. There's like a generation of children.
Oh yeah, that are probably consumed by it. Yeah, because they're, and this is, I steal this off Rogan because he says it all the time, but it's so true. Our frontal lobe's not fully developed till we're 25. So these, luckily when I started doing this, I was, older than 25, although I still don't know if it's fully developed.
Yeah. If it's not now.
Yeah. But, that you're absolutely right. I mean, when you're thrown into something brand new, and we tend to forget that, social media and the internet in general is very young on the grand scheme of things. It's a blip on the radar. Yeah. So we didn't know what it was or what it's becoming. So, young, fragile minds that have grown up with that, I don't know what the long-term recourse is going to be of that. I think that our generation is lucky that we were brought up without it. Oh, there's my wife. I told her to stop in, but she was never getting into one of these.
You got a good view, man. You got a good view, man.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
The street out here.
Yeah. To get off topic for a second, I want to give John some kudos. He came up with a great idea.
John, yeah.
I think we're going to try to do these videos in here the same week at the same time, and then if anybody wants to stop by, if there's something that's going on that they want to share, they can always just pop in.
Oh, that's cool.
So we might start with 2 people, and then by the end of it there might be 6 people sitting here.
Oh man, that's
right? So if you want to stop by and see and join at any point, we'll tell you the time and day, and then if somebody wants to join, they can.
I had an interesting idea. Well, I don't know if it's an idea, but I talked to some of the guys that are at Lost Tavern. then I was thinking, I never even brought it up to them, and I was even going to just see what you thought, where it was almost that concept where you could be like lost with friends and you could just be down there for like 2 hours.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like whoever shows up could like show up, and you could just kind of
exactly
have like almost like one of those sports talk radio shows that they would have, where like
oh,
they
yeah.
went live at whatever.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
And then you could just go.
It'd be more fun to do it there because they have beer.
I mean, yeah.
We could always bring growlers over here, but I'm sure that's a little more enticing for people.
Everybody starts mumbling through their words.
Yeah.
And they'll get into some trouble, but
especially with theirs.
All right, so you're keeping the kids offline. What about the screens and whatnot? I got an almost 2-year-old, so I just want to see what you guys did and if you have any kind of thoughts on.
I owe a lot of credit to my wife.
Yeah.
I mean, for everything really. I can't do any of this without her being like the absolute rock at home. You know, the job that I have requires a lot of nights and weekends, and if she wasn't a rock star at home taking care of the kids and working a full-time job herself, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm able to do. So I know I get a lot of credit because I put myself out there, but she's the reason why I can do what I do.
Yeah.
And we are, you know, if anyone that knows us personally and the way the parenting happens, it is very strict. You know, we let them watch maybe an hour on a screen a day. And we try to keep it to the PBS shows, the Daniel Tigers, the Wild Kratts, the stuff that is educational. And then, you know, the occasional movie here and there. But, you know, they don't have phones, they don't have iPads, they don't have that stuff. We do let them, we let them play a little bit on an iPad here and there. But it's because you want to restrict them, but at the same time, I don't want them to be so far behind because that's the way our world is going to work, is all through technology. So while we want to not get them addicted to screens, we also want to, it's a very, like, it's not, there's no easy way to do this, obviously, and there's no perfect answer, but you don't want them to not do it at all because then they're going to be so far behind, you know?
What I think, though? I'm basing this off of nothing and never looked, this is just an opinion thing, where it's like your kids are playing soccer now, and it's like, if that kid doesn't play soccer between the ages of 4 and 7, that doesn't mean that they're not going to be a pro soccer player. Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't mean that if they're not going to be able to figure that out a little bit later. So it's like, I think they could probably get away with not, you know. Well, anyway, my daughter's not even 2, and she's like on phones doing this stuff if she gets her hands on one. And we don't even give her a phone. We're like, how does she know this stuff?
Well,
she's like,
because of Steve Jobs. That's what he said in one of his speeches. He said, we want this to be so simple that a 2-year-old can pick it up and figure it out.
Yeah, she did, for sure.
So that's just genius inventing
like,
right there.
It is, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Just kind of.
Sorry, it's not your genius daughter. It's it's Apple.
Well, no, I don't think there's anything genius about that.
But there's something genius about that being the way that you function it, though. You know, it's pretty crazy.
So so easy a caveman can do it, I guess.
Yeah. Showing your age with bringing up that old advertising.
I don't have cable currently, so I'm a little bit behind.
That's the last commercial you saw.
Yeah, back in like 2007. What about, so coming in here, I was talking about it. I wanted to ask you about the broker thing. I don't know if we ever got to it. Like, to get started, very helpful to have a broker, large company behind you.
See,
pros and cons.
I don't want to misspeak here because, and I think a lot of it has to do with me.
Yeah.
And not the brokerage. It goes back to what I said before, where there was things available to me that I probably didn't take advantage of because I wanted to do things my own way, and there were things I disagreed with. So I probably didn't seek counsel on the other things I should have. So I don't want to put that blame on big brokerages, but at the same time, I can certainly say that some of the things that are being taught are very antiquated. And I can also say that when I first started doing the marketing, when I was doing it, didn't make sense to everybody. And
because it was different.
Because it was different, yes.
I'm going to kind of go into that. Well, we talked about it before we went on. Just a different part of things where, you see your sign, you see your logo. And I don't remember what book it was, but it talked about, it's probably one of these business-related books, and it was like, why do you want to do what everybody else is doing? If you're a realtor, like, why do you want to put your head on a billboard?
Yeah.
Every block has somebody's face on it.
Sure.
You decided to, without even, I don't even know if you've seen this before. I don't know what went into that thought process with yours. I mean, house and land real estate, you have a house and a tree.
Land.
A land.
Somewhat land.
How about the name? I mean, is it, did you choose that because it's like the most basic thing ever, or is there a story behind it?
Is there a basic story? That's part of it.
Yeah.
Part of the story is the fact that, so I do have a partner, Steve Hollander, and we went back and forth on tons and tons of names.
So
And
it's like a paralysis by analysis thing where
it
you're
was
just like overthinking it.
And then also we both had to love it. So that was the hard part too. So we were coming up with all kinds of stuff. So many of them sounded way too corny. And then we also, like, we wanted to kind of get our point across of who we were in the name, and that didn't make sense. There wasn't any way to do that. So we didn't want this super, super long name either. And then, like you said, one thing that I would not budge on was I wanted something to be as simple as possible that people could understand what it was without putting real estate after it. So I feel like if House and Land wasn't already like taken, we didn't have to pay like $10,000 for the URL.
Yeah.
We probably would have just been House and Land, but it was, so we're House and Land Real Estate. But I feel like after branding the way that I would like to, I feel like people will know who we are by just saying House and Land. You don't have to say real estate at the end to really know what we do and who we are.
If you give out a business card, they don't have to say like, "Hey, what do you sell?" Like
Exactly. Yeah,
much,
and I actually love our business card.
even without the real estate being on the
See?
bottom. Yeah,
I mean, hopefully you can see that.
See
And
that
look,
in Hellertown. What
and
about
look,
the colors?
no face.
Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I'm just.
Well, no, but it is
so
a
two
little.
things there.
Yeah.
So why didn't you do that?
Why didn't I put my
Why
face
isn't
on
your
it?
face on all the boards around town?
I think people might be sick of seeing it online.
And then what about the colors? So you got what colors? You
No,
got?
I think though. I mean, the reason I don't. I mean, it costs a fortune to put a billboard up and things like that. And I think I'd rather spend my money on producing good quality content that people can watch online. Yeah, I give my money to John instead of the billboard companies.
And then how about what went in the color scheme?
So the logo and the color scheme again was we had all kinds of ideas, and this is where Steve's wife Marlena came in super handy. She does graphic design, and we'd come up with an idea, and then she'd put our idea in a picture, and then we'd say yes or no, or could you tweak this, tweak that, and then once we came up with House and Land, she pretty quickly came up with this, and we always wanted to pick a color that wasn't already being used prominently anywhere, and more specifically in this area, but we were hoping to not have it anywhere. The colors that she came up with, I think they're pleasing. They're kind of modern, which we are, like in the way we're going to be pursuing things here, and it's something that does make us stick out a little bit more than the Keller Williams dark red and the maroon of Berkshire Hathaway, the blue Coldwell Banker, and yellow for Weichert. We're our own color.
No, and you definitely don't really think, I guess, real estate if you're looking at what color would you say that is?
I think teal.
Teal? We'll go with teal?
Teal?
Yeah.
Aqua
Nice,
teal?
man. Aqua teal.
I don't know, though. I don't know.
So
I know the color code. But I'm not giving that out because then somebody will take it.
No, it's perfect. So what else went into getting this place going here? So somebody this week at the gym was talking about a certain technique. What is that? What would you call that on the book?
That's whitewash.
They were talking about a German schmear. Did you ever hear that? What is that?
I did, but that's
not it?
That's something completely different.
Right.
No. So Steve did this, and Steve was a huge part in getting the building ready.
Yeah.
That's something I had talked about before. It's like we make a good partnership because first off we both agreed on the business plan, which is we're kind of like a law office too, where we both have our own book of business. And we will get compensated for our own book of business, but we'll run the business together. That way we can share costs of running the whole operation, and we can work it that way. And then also
I mean, you guys are both House and Land.
We're both under House and Land, but like if someone came and worked with me, like I don't split my commission with Steve. Like it's still my deal.
Got it.
Just like as if any agent would come in, it's not, I'm not going to get 50% of everything he does. He's not going to get 50% of everything I do. So we both had our own book of business, so we wanted to make sure we did that still. But we both also had the same vision on what we wanted to do as far as we start recruiting agents and running an office from a brokerage standpoint. And then also, like I was trying to get to was his strengths are, and he's flipped some homes. He rents out properties. He's the property manager of this building. I hate property management. So that's perfect. He does that. He took care of coordinating and also doing a lot of the work himself in getting the building where it is today, which was huge because I'm not handy at all. So that's where his strengths are, and then my strengths are, you know, in marketing and getting the office actually set up with systems and processes that it will be seamless for not only us to you know, coordinate business in here, but also seamless for when new agents come in, because we have systems and processes in place that makes it just a perfect place for them to succeed.
So it's like, you know, you just complement each other in terms of strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
Working at Caldwell Banker, but then even before that, we went to the same high school. He's way older than me, even though I look a lot older than him.
Where'd you go? Where'd you go to high school?
Actually, I think he's 3 years older than me, or 4, something like that. We both went to Palisades,
cool.
So yeah, not far from here at all. But we like, our families knew each other. He's got a big family, cousins and stuff, and like our families always knew each other. And then we became close when we started working at Coldwell Banker together.
You guys scheming?
Yeah, we always talked about. We did it. It was like jokes. We used to like. I did a funny meme of like us, me, Steve, and Greg, who just joined us as the Three Amigos, and I put our faces on us on the horses in Three Amigos Real Estate, like little jokes and stuff like that. And it really only became a reality after like Steve was pushing me to get my broker license, and I didn't want to do it at first because I just don't like. I don't like sitting in classrooms. I don't like taking tests. I don't like doing any of that. But I also wanted to have the highest form of education possible because I knew I'd be selling real estate the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I really got it because if an opportunity arose, I wanted to be able to jump on it and not have to wait a year to get my license. Because getting a broker license takes a lot longer. That's about 240 hours. So, and multiple tests throughout, and you know, state and national exams and things of that sort. So I just wanted to have it just in case a good opportunity arose. And it just so happened, like I think it was like a week after I finished my classes, I don't know exactly when it was, this property came up for sale. And that's, I walked past, I had no intention of opening up a brokerage. We walked through the building, and it was a great opportunity. And that was the opportunity that came about that we had to take, because everything fell into place.
Yeah.
It was something we were able to buy. It had a rental upstairs that would cover the bottom costs. We were allowed to do commercial on the first floor, rent out the second floor. We didn't have to. There was already a driveway. We didn't have to change zoning. Everything was grandfathered in, and it seemed perfect. And I thought it was a good deal too. So
I mean, I guess that's probably a good lesson there, and just a sense of, you know, get yourself prepared, and whenever. Yeah. Let's just be ready for that next thing, I guess, always.
I always say this, and it's probably being a dead horse, but it's, you know, multiple people said how lucky it was, and I always say luck is when preparation and opportunity meet.
There's absolutely no way that there's luck at all, you know?
Well, I mean, it kind of is, because of it came up when we were able to purchase it. It was right where we wanted it to be. I mean, I don't think, if you said, Justin, pick any other location you want anywhere, I don't think I'd pick another location. So again, I mean, we were prepared for it.
Yeah. I was
preparing for a whole year just getting my license, and also prepared financially, lucky to be able to buy it.
Yep.
And then that opportunity arose, and there was a couple offers on it, and we got it.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So basically, just like how I got my real estate license, I put about 5 minutes of thought into getting my real estate license.
Yeah.
And I put about 5 minutes of thought into saying, all right, I'm gonna be a broker of record at my own company.
Well, I mean,
and then here we are.
But it's like, I'm sure that thought was going through your head though. Like, I don't know, you probably had it somewhere in here that.
Like I knew I could do it.
You were kind of ready for it, you know.
But I mean, it certainly had, I had my own fears about it, and most of my fears were squandered right away with Steve, because most of my fears were actually getting the building ready, because this place was trashed.
Okay,
so that was
everything here is.
Oh, everything's brand new. Yeah.
What about the door, like the open?
Luckily the doors were here.
And it was always the glass, right?
Yep, the glass, but that was in bad shape. But we cleaned up all that. I shouldn't say everything, but floors, walls, redid bathrooms, redid the kitchen.
How many months was that prep?
Well, we bought it in February, so it was probably a good 6 months of work. But then we also there were some time restraints with actually getting licensing through the state and everything like that too. So that took some time, and then trying to time it right with the transition from the old company. So, but we thought it would take, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, and it wound up taking closer to a year.
Yeah.
But that's to be expected from the people I talked to.
And then what about with like the former employer? You just kind of notify them, hey, this is what I intend on doing, and
So the way it works in real estate is, and I always thought it should be different, but this is just how everyone does it. And I even, because I like to do things differently, I was even wondering if I should do it differently. But it's kind of you sneak out at the very end, like the day you send in the paperwork, that you can start practicing the next day. So it's a little different when you're opening a brokerage, like basically right after you get the state inspection done, your passing state inspection counts as a license to then practice real estate out of. And I couldn't be happier with my former employer at Caldwell Banker. They were fantastic while I was there, and they were fantastic with our separation as well. Some people have very ugly separations, but they were nothing but professional, and I was obviously very happy to see that, because I was hoping that they were valuing the 5 years I put there, because it was obviously very mutually beneficial to both of us. So I was hoping for a clean breakup, if you will, as clean as you can get if possible.
What about the end goal? What do you think, man? You're here in Hellertown. What's the big?
I mean, I have some pretty big goals. Some that are like scary to share, because then I'm stuck to them now if we're on video.
That's like those things.
I mean, my goal for 2020 is I'd love to get at least 5 more agents here, if not more. But I'd like to get 5 solid producing agents. I'm not quite at the capacity where I have the capability of training brand new agents. Not to say that can't happen, and the way things rapidly progress here, who knows, I might be ready for that in a month or 2.
Yeah.
As it currently stands, I don't have the time or resources to train brand new agents. But we're almost running at full capacity here, where we are more than ready to take on some agents that want to do things the way we do it, and learn from what we do, and more importantly, I want to learn from them. Yeah. I think that's one thing that some people, they become a broker, or like the people at the top of these big brokerages, they're not on pounding the pavement. They're not actually doing things. They're just, you never even meet them half the time. I want to learn from these agents. They're out there doing what I do too. So you can learn all kinds of things from people. Yeah. Like if you're talking to someone and you don't find them interesting, that's on you, because everybody's interesting if you just listen to them. So I want to learn from other agents, and I want to sit down with them, and they tell me what they want, and I'll see if it's something I can provide. I'm not going to sit there and tell you this is what I do. Do you like it? I'd rather hear from them what they want.
Nice. Offices here.
Mm-hmm.
If you had 5 people working for you, do they is this just like the home that they'll come to and do some meetings and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, so right now, I mean, the way real estate is practiced, almost everyone works from home.
Yeah. So
we don't have a huge office, obviously. We've got a beautiful office, and we've got plenty of workspaces for people. We're not going to have personal offices for people. We're not set up for it. Yeah. And it's also, from the conversations I've had, most people aren't actually looking for that. But what they will have is a fantastic professional space for when they do need to meet clients. We got a great conference room here, obviously. Yeah. Great entryway. We got some other desks around when people do want to come in and work. There's certainly space to do that. Yeah. But we can't offer a bunch of private offices. Yeah. And nor are people looking for that. I mean, I know even I loved my old office. It was gorgeous, and we had our own private area in the back. And even there, I might have only been there 2 hours a day tops when I would meet with clients. Yeah. So, I mean, typically, the best way for me to be successful at my business is I'm out with people. So, and most agents are going to be that way. So.
And then in terms of number stuff, you said 7 houses a year is a pretty good year. Mm-hmm. Or is that the average?
That's the average. Yes, that's not very good.
Let's say you do 10 then. Uh-huh. How many showings do you typically do to get the 10 sales?
That's a fantastic question, and it's very much a case by case basis. If I had to put an average on it, you're typically showing around maybe 5 to 9 houses for someone to buy. So obviously that's like an average. So there's plenty of outliers. I've had a number of people where we go out for the first time and look at 3 houses and they buy one of them. A very high percentage actually do that. And then typically we try to do 3 more after that. And a lot of times people will buy it within those first 6. But then there are definitely outliers where some people are like, 20, 30, 40 houses.
Wow.
So it just depends. And that's an interesting part of my job because I feel like I need to help them as much as I can. But I always want to work at their pace. And I never want to be pushy. And I think all my past clients would say that I always work at their pace. But sometimes that might be a detriment. Like that might be one of my weaknesses is that if they need to have a sense of urgency on something, maybe I need to be a little bit more vocal on that. But I don't ever want to feel like that pushy salesman.
Yeah.
So that is a fine line that I feel like me and a lot of agents probably go through is just like, how much do you actually want to like push someone, but also come back a little bit, because you're almost always going to find the house that you want within those first 6 houses. But when people are first getting their feet wet, they're kind of scared to make that decision, and they're always worried about like, well, if we put an offer on this one, what if the perfect house comes out the next week? But then what they typically find themselves in is when you're at house 25, like, man, I wish we would have put that offer on that second house we saw. That happens way more than the other.
Yeah.
But when it's all emotion. When you're buying a house, it's all emotions. And emotions, if you have a decision to make, you're always going to choose emotions over logic in a high situation like that. So I try to bring some logic to the conversation, but always, they're always making their own decisions.
So I guess it's almost like your job to basically kind of balance it out, where if some people are a little too like impatient, like you might be pushing patience, and then maybe the other way around too, where like do people try to rush into something and you're just kind of like, hey,
certainly
slow them down a little,
if they're if it's something that I think is not a good investment for them, I would try to slow them down
like
big
out of budget, or maybe this house
out of budget, or like they're falling in love with the granite countertops and the beautiful redone bathrooms, but they're not thinking about how old the furnace is, how old the roof is, and all the windows. Those are massive big ticket items that when they need to be replaced are going to be $5,000 plus for that kind of stuff, and they're falling in love with the granite. So I definitely have pulled the reins back on some people with that, where again, I'm not saying no, but I always want to present them with as much information as possible before they make a huge decision, but always remind them it is their decision. And if they want my advice on anything, I give it, and I try to present them with the facts, and then they can go forward with that decision. And one thing that has been very difficult, but I've really tried to do early on, especially in this market, is just get them used to what the market is. Because right now, properties are selling fast, and they're selling at list price, and a lot of times above, depending on the area you're looking at. So if we don't sit down and have that conversation, it's pretty hard for me to just meet a client at a house and they're like, we're interested in putting an offer on this. And my first suggestion is, if you want this house, you got to bid 10 grand higher. They're going to be like, screw you. Who are you? You're just trying to get a sale. But no, if you build a relationship first, you talk to them and you show them the facts, show them houses that were similar that are selling for that extra price, then they're like, oh, wow, you're right. Literally the last 10 houses that sold, all sold at or above asking price. So now they understand I'm not just trying to get a sale, I'm trying to help them, so they're not going to just keep losing house after house after house after house. Because so many times this spring and summer, we were in multiple offer situations, and even people that were going 5, 10, I had people that were going $10,000 over asking and still didn't get the house.
And are you dealing primarily with the individual that's looking for a home, or you're listing houses, or like what is it?
I'm right, as of right now, I'm completely 50-50.
50-50.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. I think as of right now, I did 22 sales and 22 listings. So
it's important even
right down the middle.
That we were talking about, kind of having each other's back in the real estate community. I mean, you're working with other realtors.
Oh, yeah.
So it's got to have those good working relationships.
I think so, and that's actually a conversation I had last night at a chamber event, was just there's the top agent that sells 100 million in sales volume still doesn't even have 1% of the market share in the Lehigh Valley. So Like we're not competing against each other. You're competing against yourself.
Just enough for everybody.
There's more than enough for everybody.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What about these spots now they're buying up? You know, you go out Easton Road and you're in Quakertown, and like, you know, land is getting bought up and just big warehouses just slapped on there. I mean, what's going on? I mean, I know they're looking to buy houses, knock them down, and just build up warehouses. I mean, what you got anything on that? I mean,
well, I know. I mean, not a lot, but my own personal opinion on it is, I know that there's just a lack of warehouse space.
Yeah,
like
it's got to be. I mean,
big companies need warehouse space, and there's not much. So that's, you know, if there's a demand, then then it's going to happen.
Because there's offers.
I mean, I hate to see stuff get knocked over and built up, and everyone does. But again, let's stop thinking about emotions and think logically here. You sure as heck like getting those Amazon packages on your doorstep every day. Where does that come from? You know, you can be all high and mighty and say, "Oh, you can't build anywhere," but the stuff's got to be put somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and then in terms of just kind of talking about the land and whatnot, how much land is there around here? Even, I mean, it seems that like acreage is hard to come by.
It is. I mean, hey, it's the only
farms. I mean, I live out in Williams Township.
Yeah.
Farmland out there, but I mean, even everything is getting bought up.
It's that age-old saying: they're never making any more of it.
Right.
You know.
So
that's why it is. That's why real estate is such a great investment. And a lot of people have fear right now about buying anything because we're coming into an election year, and everyone's so scared of this huge economical collapse.
Tony Robbins' book taught me.
Yeah.
There's going to be a reset at some point.
There is, but I don't. We're not going to have like a crazy mortgage crisis where it affects housing 100% like we did in 2008. Like, it's not going to be the same thing, in my opinion. This is just strictly my opinion. And more specifically, there's nobody out there that convinced me that we're going to have an issue with property values in the Lehigh Valley. Like, the Lehigh Valley is so sought after right now. And the values are just going to keep going up, and I don't see how it could be a bad investment. I mean, case by case, you might personally make a bad investment with a house you purchase if you don't have proper representation. But at the end of the day, property values are just going to continue to go up. They might slow down. They're going up at a rapid pace right now. Yeah. It'll probably slow down, but they're not just going to plummet, in my opinion.
And then in terms of like, you know, it's hard. Do you sell commercial as well?
I do, but very minimal compared to residential.
Because we were kind of talking about the whole business side of things and all that, where it's like there's a high percentage that people require for a down payment.
Yes.
So it's like it's almost making it very hard, like as a business owner.
For commercial,
For a commercial,
yeah.
You say I want to put a gym somewhere, and it's like I'm trying to buy.
Yeah.
It's almost best to like just find something and build something.
There's a lot of special financing out there for residential, and there's hardly anything for commercial.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah,
and I think that probably plays a role in.
Well, maybe one of those
failures and whatnot.
Maybe one of these local banks out here have got to start putting a nice commercial package together for people.
That'd be nice, right?
Yeah. Especially if you come in prepared. You come in with a great business plan. You show them how you're going to make money and how you're a great investment. You know, then you'd like to see you be able to get a loan there.
Yeah.
Heck, maybe there's probably a real value out there right now if you had just a company get together that has money that wants to invest in local businesses that puts some packages together for business owners.
Right.
Right.
We gotta get these banks on board.
Yeah. Well, maybe we got to get some people together and make our own bank.
Yeah.
We'll do a Shark Tank style in here, and people can pitch us their ideas.
That'd be cool. What else you got, man? Anything good? Anything good going on in the business here you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I think everything's going good right now. When you go from working from a big company to running your own thing, I mean, it's kind of hard to not wake up super excited to see what's going to happen every day and just really want to just promote what you're doing and really get it out there to show everybody that you're passionate about what you do and you're excited to get people on board with you.
Yeah.
You know, it's commonly talked about with a lot of the business owners in this area is like we all rise together and getting as many people involved, whether it's more agents that want to work here with us or just getting involved in more community events, getting involved with other business owners. I mean, I'm all about it. Like, I love the fact that, you know, I did a video over at your place. Now I'm doing a podcast for your podcast, and just being able to do that with all kinds of people. Like I did Josh's, Josh Popacek's podcast, and then I'm going to have him on something over here. And same with all these businesses around here. And I think it's something that I'm very excited to get into even more so now that I'm promoting my own real estate company, and it's exciting.
Yeah.
And I want people to share that excitement.
Now, do you have the ability, like you said, real estate?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it goes on at home.
Yeah.
Do you got the ability to kind of hit the off switch?
Me?
Yeah, like or
I
you
don't.
like. Yeah, so it's like,
I mean, I do. I should. Let me rephrase that, because I do try my hardest when I get home to not have my phone on me and give my full attention to my kids for that first hour at home before they go to bed.
Do you have, you're communicating via text message with clients?
I am.
So
Yep.
You get those individuals that might hit you up a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. And I try to tell people, like, I'll always respond as fast as I can. There's Kenny. He should come in.
You should come in.
That's how it starts, you know?
That'd be cool. Can you open these up somehow, man?
They used to be like that, but no, we can always give a wave, and then if they come, they can come.
You said nah.
Yeah. He came from the gym. He doesn't want to get in the video all sweaty.
Talk about that though if you wanted to, but anyway, having some boundaries.
Yeah.
Clients, stuff.
Yeah. I think it's vitally important, and as long as you have that conversation up front, I'm more than happy. I don't mind if people call me or text me at night, as long as they realize I'm going to get back to them the next morning.
Yeah.
Anyone with families need to understand that you have to be able to not be on call 100% of the time. It's just not possible, and I'm not going to be able to be the type of person I am if they expect me to do that. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to reach any of my goals if I was 100% accessible to my clients at all times, because then I wouldn't be able to create anything. I mean, I'd be taking calls this whole time that we're talking.
Yeah.
I'd be taking calls when I'm sitting down with a new seller or a new buyer. Like, I don't want to constantly be answering the phone when I'm in front of other people face to face.
Yeah, affect the relationship, and
exactly.
To build the relationships and rapport and all that stuff. So
yeah.
All right, man. What do you got? You got anything else?
I'm trying to think.
2020 is a big year for House and Land.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the first year for House and Land. I mean, we did open obviously in 2019, but we only have like a month here, and everybody celebrates Christmas for the whole month of December. So we're kind of very excited to unveil quite a few things in 2020. We're a full service real estate company, so we will have an in-house mortgage company in here. We'll have an in-house title company in here. So people don't have to. All their bases are covered from the second they walk through the door. They don't have to worry about going to a bunch of different vendors. We have it all here for them if they want it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, any questions for me? We good to go?
I mean, I was flattered to the fact that you wanted to have me on a health and fitness podcast.
Well, here's the deal.
So I know what it is.
Last time we talked, and you're doing all these awesome videos and all this other stuff. You're building a business, and I was like, easy to talk to. And I think it's probably that whole thing you talked about with, like, not that you consider yourself a salesman. Yeah. But just talking to you was just like, this guy's perfect for having a conversation.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So he's just a nice guy that has a business, and I would like to be a nice guy that has a business as well. And try to do that. So, yeah, man. So it's good. It's all good.
I thought it was because you were getting so much good advice from people that are doing it, you wanted to find out what not to do. No.
Probably the opposite, man. You kind of set down, you did what you want to do, and all this stuff. And what we were talking about stuff too before, it was always like, I think we talked about it at the gym, some, like, off the camera was some business stuff, the social media stuff, how crazy it is. And even some of the stuff we touched on here with having kids and all that is like, it's a little much, and there's a lot of going on in people's, defining their worth based off of things that they probably shouldn't be, and things of that nature. So just trying to build a business and kind of.
I think you nailed it on the head too by mentioning all those things. I think one thing that every business owner is going to struggle with is just you have I kind of look at things and compartmentalize it. And, you have so many things, and you have to figure out how to allocate your time to all those things, and figure out what is most important to you and your growth. Your relationships with your family, friends, and clients, and also then you have to market your business, or else you're going to go out of business. And it is one of those. It's a fine dance every day. There's no perfect answer or system or process to know exactly how to allocate your time to certain things, but I think if you're trying to do it the right way, then then you're already on the right step.
Well, and you just take control of your day too, where
you
do have you have freedom, but you don't. I mean, you control your schedule, but I find myself sometimes like, hey, I got to send out 3 emails, but I want to read this book for an hour, and then every night I'm going to be like, well, I didn't get that stuff done. Yeah. Because I chose to read instead of work, and like I have to be okay with that. It's like you can't just like just go 20 hours every day and like hammering away on stuff, because I think you'll kind of go crazy with that. So I think there's that balancing act.
I think the number one thing that I would attribute any of my success to is how strict I am with the schedule, and I'm absolutely fascinated by other people's daily rituals and schedules too, and I'm just always tinkering and tweaking because I want to find the perfect schedule. Yeah. And I've been able to get close, and the one thing that always falls out of the schedule is the health and fitness side of stuff. And that's why it's like that's where I'm off. Yeah. Like I feel like I'm really hitting on all cylinders in so many areas because of the way I schedule my day. And the one thing that has always eluded me, at least for the past like 12 years, is not only the time in the gym, but I just hate prepping food, and that's me being whiny. Obviously, everybody's got to make food. I just hate doing it, and more importantly, I hate cleaning up after it.
Right, so you listen to the podcast, right? Do you know Rhonda Patrick? I know she was.
Oh yeah.
She has this guy Sachin Panda, Walter Longo, whatever. Time restricted eating. It's kind of like fasting, but you're basically going to consume everything in the front half of the day. Whatever, you just pick your window. Yep. But I feel like you can't do whatever you want in a sense where you don't eat McDonald's all the time. Sure, yeah. If you're disciplined enough to have a strict schedule, you could follow those rules. Yeah. Because you're just rules, and you're just like, I'm not going to do this, and you don't do it.
I did try the intermittent fasting where I wouldn't start eating till like 11 or 12. I would just get so sick in the morning.
I did the opposite.
It didn't work for me.
I'll eat early, but then I get busy at night.
Oh, so really? You tried not doing it at night?
Well, I go back to work, say, at 3. Yeah. So I'll eat before that, and then I'm done. Okay. So that's the thing with the time-restricted eating is like, it matches up with your circadian rhythms. It's kind of the whole thing behind it. Sure. So, if you eat a cookie at night, your body's not going to handle that the same way it would a cookie in the morning. You're just a little bit more efficient at burning this stuff and the insulin response, all this other crap. So,
a cookie doesn't even make sense to me.
Well, anyway, I know.
A pack of cookies.
But also you're not eating before bed.
Yeah, that's
things like that. Anyway, I don't think it's that hard. I feel like if you could follow a little bit of a schedule, and just be pretty strict with yourself, I think you could pull it off. Yeah. I think it's a starting spot. It's not that bad.
All right, hey, yeah.
Because there's studies too. I mean, they're citing all this stuff. It's like, you could eat the same amount of calories but keep it in the window. So it's not even it's not really calorie restriction and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know.
Isn't that interesting though? Because as we were growing up, it was always the bodybuilder diet was what was popular, where you have to eat every 2 to 3 hours. Yeah. And now the new science.
People could have success with that too, though.
Yeah. It is just interesting because you can hear so many different ways of doing it. I think the next, and you would know this more than me, but I think the next big change in the fitness and health industry is just going to be how personalized everything has to be. Because what works for you is different from me, is different from John, is different from Steve, is different. Everybody's for some people, low carbs works great. Yeah. For other people, intermittent fasting works great. For other people, chicken, rice, and broccoli every 3 hours works great. I think it is something that
the keto diet, the vegan.
Yes, diet, exactly. Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those things where people are going to get their blood tests. They're going to do that and figure out, all right, this is optimal for you, Chris. This is optimal for you, John.
And even like those things like 23andMe, where it tells you if you're sensitive to caffeine, or
I thought that was a dating website.
I don't know. You upload your data, and it tells you all this stuff, and then these other companies now, like I think Rhonda Patrick, even to bring her up again, has her own like database where you could upload your info to that, and she'll give you more information. I mean, obviously you're paying for this stuff and whatever, but I think it is personalized.
Yeah,
we don't respond to the things the same way.
Wait a second. So you're telling me I have no excuses? That can't be fair.
You got the discipline to do.
It is crazy.
You're a disciplined person.
I am an extremely disciplined person, except for the health and fitness side of things. I know it's in there somewhere.
You can do anything you want.
I know I can.
And you can't quit on it ever.
Yeah, that's
just keep trying, right?
Because I would never quit on what I'm doing on the business side. So, yeah, I got to get.
What have you done in the past that works?
So I wasn't phenomenal shape for a while, and that I was basically doing that. I was working out all the time, so that helped, and I was 15 years younger. But I was following the bro diet, the protein shakes, chicken breasts, brown rice.
Did you have a gallon of water with you?
Oh yeah, always.
With the duffel bag too, or no?
I wasn't a duffel bag guy.
Yeah, you saw those guys.
But I used to carry the jug. My wife hated it because I would have the jug around the house too.
Why is that even a thing? I don't
What, the gallon of water jug?
I get it, but I'm like, dude,
just because it's like, for me, when I had it, and I probably would do it, because I just knew, like, all right, this is my goal. My goal's in front of me, and I see my goal go down. Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people probably on some supplements and whatnot that you have to stay hydrated and all this other crap. I didn't know.
No, that's why I like the gallon jug, though.
The gallon jug?
Yeah, because it's kind of like a
challenge.
Yeah, that's your goal right there, and you're watching. You get closer to your goal until it's gone.
All right, man. 2020 is going to be a big year for fitness for you, I think.
Yeah,
I'm feeling it, man.
All right, yeah. And well, am I allowed to use a gallon jug? Or
just like clean it. You get a new one. Just like don't reuse the same one over and over again.
All right, I was going to get a house and land jug.
Yeah. I just saw this crazy movie though, Dark Waters. Have you seen this preview about Mark Ruffalo's in it? It's about DuPont, plastic, forever chemicals.
Oh really?
It's messed up. Yeah. These things are still going on in the news. It basically was about Teflon.
Okay.
So I guess in the 70s, 80s, everybody's using Teflon. Then it realized that there's these forever chemicals that once they're in your body, they're never leaving. And these lawsuits.
From drinking out of the plastic bottles?
No, from Teflon. But then there's other, like Chipotle and their plastic packaging.
Yeah.
Forever chemicals are in there. They just got a big lawsuit, sued. Some of these stuff are still in the news, but anyway, now I'm looking around. I'm like, I'm scared to use anything.
It's hard to keep up with everything, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just new stuff coming out too. Like the Mark Ruffalo character, there's these chemicals in his carpet. He's home one night. He's a lawyer. He's trying to take this company down. It's DuPont, who's huge, and he's like ripping up his carpets, throwing all these pans away, like totally freaking out.
Yeah.
But
Is that what you did at home?
Threw them all out. I'm actually living outside. I mean, I'm just camping out now, man.
That's funny.
I got my, what do they call that? Like the doomsday kit, man.
Oh, yeah. One of those guys.
No.
Doomsday preppers.
Not at all, man. All right, man. What do you got? Anything else? We good to go? Wrapping this thing up?
Yeah. I can't think of anything else.
Me either.
Yeah.
Matt, or we can talk Joe Rogan podcast all day if you want.
Oh, yeah.
What are you reading? You reading anything?
Yeah, right now I'm reading something on building teams, and also the millionaire Harvey T. Ecker wrote it. I forget what the title is called. I'm not always good with the titles. Once I know an author, I'll start reading all of their books that they did. But yeah, I'm in between those two, and then I it's not a fun read, but I have a book on running a brokerage.
Yeah.
So, and even that's just hard to get through. That's more compliance stuff and contracts and stuff like that. But I jump around all the time with ideas and stuff. I'm the same way with books. So I'll have like 3 or 4 books going at the same time.
Yeah, I kind of got it going.
Depends on my mood in the morning.
Audiobook or no?
I'm big on podcasts. On audiobooks, not as much because I drive a lot, but they tend to be in spurts. So I almost feel like I need time to get immersed into an audiobook. So for some reason, I do audiobooks, but not to the extent of
the podcast is better for the drive, I think.
Yeah.
I started listening on 1.5x. So you listen to
Oh, yeah.
I see. It's perfect. Dude,
I've tried it. I need it slower. If
I'm
anything,
like hammering through these things.
If anything, I need to do 0.5 so I don't miss anything. Because if I go too fast, it turns into background noise, and I actually want to consume what I'm listening to.
Right.
But that's the way my brain works. Yours is probably different.
You haven't dated
I'm a little bit slower.
I just started that up. What else do you listen to? Anything? What your favorite podcast? What do you got?
My favorite podcast right now, I'll always when I'm needing some extra motivation, I always go back to Gary Vee, even though he basically says the same stuff for the past 5 years. But occasionally you just need to hear it again.
Yeah.
And one thing that he always says that I enjoy is the fact that don't I hope I don't butcher this, but basically like do what I'm doing. Like if I'm watching one of his videos, I'm not actually listening to what he's saying. I'm watching how he made that video, and I want to make that video like he made that video. You know what I mean? So doing things like that with him is always enjoyable. I like listening to like top real estate agents getting interviewed. So there's like one, Joshua Smith does one, and Pat Harbin or something like that, real estate rock stars.
Yeah.
So there's those. I listen to Tom Ferry sometimes too, and then I like Rogan's like my break from business and stuff. But even that's like just general stuff that I like to hear, and those are probably the main ones I go to. But then I'm always trying to hear some new ones. There's like I'm always open to suggestions from people too.
Do you know Malcolm Gladwell, the author?
Yes. Yeah.
He has these ones that are like, it's called Revisionist History.
Yeah.
They're like 40 minutes. They're pretty good. You know, his writing is like somehow relating all these obscure topics.
I think I would like that. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. And he looks
I've
at
heard
a lot
of it.
stuff.
I don't know why I never put that one in the list.
I've read, like, he's like my favorite author, I think. So his is good. And this guy Dan Carlin does Hardcore History.
Yeah.
Those are freaking awesome.
Yeah.
But then you're like, you're in the you're watching business stuff. You know, like, I take a break and listen to Rogan.
Yeah.
But I'm just always on break mode, I think, because I'm just listening for like entertainment value.
I don't know. I'm entertained by that stuff, though. I don't know that
stuff.
Yeah, I just really am. Like, I love hearing what other people are doing. And sometimes people are saying stuff, and in my head, I'm saying I don't agree with that. Mm-hmm. But then I want to step back for a moment and say, well, am I not agreeing with that just because I haven't done it? Or like, you know, and I try to think about that and see, well, maybe they are right if I just tried it.
Then even it's in your head, and 2 years down the road, you get more experience, you get more knowledge.
Then maybe it is an idea that you want to use. Exactly. That's why I like to I reread books all the time too. Like I have my go-tos that I'll reread.
Yeah.
Probably one of my favorite ones that I didn't mention is strictly a real estate book, but it's called 7 Levels, and it's how to build a relationship-based business over, like we were talking about, over spending money on bench ads and billboards. It's about creating relationships with the people that you know and like and trust, and they know and like and trust you, and just building relationships. Because that's why I love this job so much, is I get to build relationships. Like, we knew people that we didn't know before, but now I consider you a friend, and if you need help, I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
And that's just because we're building a relationship, and that's how I do. That's how it is with my clients. That's how it is with a lot of the business owners around here. It's just about getting to know people. I'm really, 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 really good at one thing. And if you need help with that one thing, I will help you.
Yeah.
Well, maybe 2, but...
I don't know what the other thing is, but...
Well, marketing.
Oh, yeah.
Marketing, what I'm good at.
I was going to say, too, like, what do you think anyway, it just always comes back to relationships, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Like you could do all this cool stuff online, have the best, like, Instagram page in the world, but if you don't have great relationships with people, you're probably...
Exactly.
You're just going to be overturning people over and over.
Yeah.
You're not going to have those lifelong fans, clients, whatever you want.
Well, and I had this conversation with Wes, actually, from Silicon Valley Massage, how you really don't, and I think it started about the likes on Instagram, and I've never been after likes and stuff like that. All I think about whenever I create any content is like the 50 or 100 people that mean the most to me, and that are always like there and always like sharing stuff and commenting. Like, I love comments because I want to interact with people. Like, if you have questions or want to talk, that's a great way to talk, is in the comments of the media that I put out.
One's if you say, Justin, you're a dummy, then what?
Oh, I've had some pretty fun. Oh, you want to hear a good one? The one guy, and this is where you have to say, like, this, you don't want this to affect you. I mean, actually, I shouldn't even say it because I don't want, like, the sellers to get upset. So I'll, like, kind of beat around the bush. But, like, people will literally, like, rip on a house. Like, they'll literally start, like, saying, like, oh, that place is terrible. I can't believe you're asking that. There's a crack house next door. And it's like, what? Like, they're literally getting upset at a house. Yeah. Like, that I posted. It's that crazy. Sucks. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't let people like that take up your mind space. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. But they'll take, like, personal jabs at me. I don't even know who they are. Yeah. But you can't let that affect you. It's all about the 100 people that you care most about. That's the content I'm putting this out for. And all the other people that enjoy it, that's just a bonus, you know? And hopefully they come into my circle. Then that circle can get to 200, 300. But it really, you know, you want to just have a solid core of people that genuinely enjoy you and the stuff that you're putting out there. And if I can bring that type of joy to people, then I feel like I'm doing a good job. And that makes me feel happy about what I'm doing.
I think that's a good way. To wrap this thing up, man.
Awesome.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For having me.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. I didn't have to
put
drive
this
to your
thing
place.
out. We've got. Yeah, no, nice, especially today.
Yeah. I'll let you drive in the rain, not me.
I think this has there's a little bit better feeling here than brick gym. That, got weights thrown everywhere. Yeah.
Well, glad you like it. Yeah.
Anyways, things out iTunes, YouTube.
Perfect.
Google Play, Stitcher, all this stuff, man. My buddy Chris puts this thing on. So
awesome.
Thanks again, man.
You got it.
See you guys. Have a good day.
See ya.
Bye, man.